Imagine America at war. Not Twitter war. Not arguing on cable news war. I mean real war. A war where the map is not just colors on a screen, but territory that actually decides whether the country survives or collapses. Now here's the nightmare scenario. America doesn't have to lose the whole country to lose the war. America only needs to lose the wrong state, just one. One critical state falls and suddenly the economy faceplants, the military becomes slower and blind, supply chains snap like cheap plastic, grocery shelves go empty, fuel prices explode, and millions of people realize they were living inside a system held together by duct tape and prayers. And no, this isn't a movie, because America is not one single machine. America is a bunch of machines connected by highways, rail, energy pipes, ports, power grids, farms, satellites, and manufacturing centers. Some states are basically decorative in a war. They matter, sure, but they're not the load-bearing beams. Other states are load-bearing beams. Lose them, and the building collapses. So today, we're ranking the top 10 US states America absolutely cannot afford to lose in a major war scenario. And I'm telling you right now, number 1 is going to shock people, because it's not the state everyone thinks it is. Also, before we start, hit like and subscribe if you enjoy these hidden system videos, because once you start seeing America like a supply chain instead of a postcard, you will never look at the map the same way again. Now the way we're ranking this is not most famous state. It's not coolest state. It's not best vacation spot. We're ranking by what matters in a war. We're ranking by military command, nuclear deterrence, ports and trade, fuel, food, industrial capacity, technology, transportation choke points, and something most people forget until it's too late, water. Because you can survive without iPhones. You cannot survive without food, fuel, power, and logistics. And if you can't move supplies, you can't fight. Alright, let's start. Number 10, Washington. Washington state is like America's quiet monster. It doesn't yell, it doesn't flex. It just quietly holds pieces of the country together. Washington has Naval Base Kitsap, which supports U.S. nuclear submarine forces in the Pacific. These are not normal submarines. These are do not touch us submarines. These are the reason another superpower has to think twice before starting something stupid. Washington is also a tech and aerospace engine. People forget Boeing isn't just airplanes for vacations. Boeing builds military aircraft and defense systems too. The state is also deeply wired into the global tech economy. Microsoft and Amazon are tied into cloud infrastructure, software ecosystems, defense contracting, and the boring behind-the-scenes internet skeleton that modern life depends on. Also, Washington has massive ports and Pacific trade access. In war, controlling Pacific logistics matters, especially because the U.S. economy is tied to Asia through shipping routes and manufacturing chains. If Washington falls, America loses a chunk of nuclear deterrence posture, Pacific logistics, tech infrastructure, and a major slice of defense aerospace capacity. That's not ouch. That's critical wound. Number 9, Illinois. Illinois is not glamorous, but Illinois is brutally important because Illinois is a transportation nerve center. Chicago is one of the most important freight choke points on Earth. If you remove Illinois from the map, the U.S. does not just have traffic. The U.S. gets split like a sandwich. Chicago is a rail interchange point that a massive amount of freight passes through, and it connects east to west logistics like a heart pumping blood between organs. If Chicago gets disrupted in wartime, goods stop moving smoothly. Military resupply becomes slower. Food transport becomes slower. Fuel transport becomes slower. Everything becomes slower. And in war, slow equals dead. Illinois also isn't just transport, it's agriculture. Corn and soy matter because they are not just food. They are the base layer of the entire food pyramid. You can't feed the population without them. You also can't feed livestock without them. And now, here's the first pause and comment moment. Pause and comment moment number 1. If you think America's biggest weakness in war is weapons, pause and comment weapons. If you think America's weakness is supply chains, pause and comment supply. Because most people are about to realize the real answer is not what they thought. Now let's climb. In the next bundle, we're hitting the military manpower states. And then we're going to step into states people ignore that could literally decide whether America wins or loses. Because one of the states you're about to hear is basically America's hidden armor. Alright, continuing the list. Number 8, North Carolina. North Carolina is a war state. It has one of the most important army installations in the country. Fort Bragg, yes. The name drama happened, but the base is what matters. That place is basically America's rapid response machine. Airborne units, special operations, the kind of forces that get moved first when something breaks. North Carolina also has marine presence and coastal operational capacity. It's one of those states where if you attack it, you're not just attacking a location, you're attacking a production line of trained human capability. And in real war, trained people matter more than shiny equipment, because equipment doesn't fight itself. Number 7. Virginia. Virginia is one of the scariest states to lose in a war, because Virginia is not just military. Virginia is the brain. The Pentagon is in the region. Major Navy command elements, intelligence infrastructure, logistics decision-making, all the boring offices that people forget actually run the entire machine. Virginia also is one of the biggest naval hubs in the world. If Virginia goes down, command and coordination gets weaker, naval operations get disrupted, and the East Coast defense posture gets messy. This is where a lot of people misunderstand war. War is not just who has more tanks. War is who can coordinate faster, communicate better, and move supplies more efficiently. And Virginia is a huge chunk of that. Number 6. Florida. Florida is a military gateway and a trade gateway. It is positioned to control access routes between the US, Latin America, and the Atlantic. It also hosts key military operations infrastructure, including command functions tied to multiple theaters of operation. Florida also matters economically and agriculturally. But the real wartime reason it matters is geopolitical control of routes and regional influence. If Florida becomes unstable, it creates a huge strategic headache for US operations in the broader region. Now, here's where we start bringing in the states you requested that people underestimate. Number 5. Alaska. And yes, Alaska is absolutely on this list. If you lose Alaska, you basically tear out America's northern security perimeter and throw it into the ocean. Alaska is strategically located near Russia, across the Arctic region. It plays a key role in early warning systems, air defense, and power projection across the North Pacific and Arctic. It also becomes more important over time due to Arctic routes becoming more valuable. People treat Alaska like it's just snow and bears. No, Alaska is military radar, air power infrastructure, and strategic depth. It is one of the reasons America can detect threats early and position forces where they need to be. If Alaska falls, America becomes blinder and slower in the north, and that changes deterrence calculus in a way that is very bad. In the next bundle, we're getting into the states people really don't understand, including one Great Lakes state that would shock most viewers, because it doesn't feel like a war state, but it might be one of the most important. Time for the states that don't look like war states, but actually function like the internal organs of America. Number 4. Michigan. Michigan is one of the most underrated strategic states in the US. Why? Because Michigan is connected to the Great Lakes. And the Great Lakes are not just cute water. The Great Lakes are an industrial and logistics system. They support shipping routes, manufacturing chains, and they touch a huge portion of US population and industrial zones. Also, Michigan has deep manufacturing DNA. In wartime, manufacturing capacity matters, because wars are not won by one shipment of weapons. Wars are won by sustained production. And Michigan has something else that matters: industrial adaptability. Historically, US manufacturing has been capable of converting civilian output into defense output. The Great Lakes region is one of the places where that happens. If Michigan is destabilized, the Great Lakes region becomes less secure, industrial throughput drops, and you disrupt a chunk of the manufacturing corridor that helps keep America armed and supplied. Number 3. Wisconsin. Wisconsin makes this list for a reason most people never talk about. Wisconsin is agriculture and dairy dominance, yes. But the bigger story is that Wisconsin and the surrounding region act as part of the food stability web that supports the country. This region doesn't just produce optional food, it produces system food, the kind of food that keeps calories stable. And in a major war scenario, calories become national security. If food becomes unstable, the economy becomes unstable. If the economy becomes unstable, political stability becomes unstable. If political stability becomes unstable, where effort becomes unstable. That's the chain reaction. Also, Wisconsin sits in the Great Lakes system too. That means water security and regional logistics matter. Now, let us talk about water for a second, because people ignore it until they can't. The Great Lakes represent a large portion of America's accessible freshwater. In the long-term view, fresh water is strategic like oil. A future war for resources is not always fought with bombs first. Sometimes it's fought through control, influence, and economic warfare, and water is the endgame resource. Pause and comment moment number 2. Would you rather control oil or fresh water for 50 years? Pause and comment oil or water, because that debate is going to become real in the future whether people like it or not. Now, We're about to hit the big three, the obvious ones, the ones everyone expects. But I'm going to flip your expectations on the number one, because the real number one state isn't the state with the biggest economy. It's the state that keeps you alive. And in the next bundle, we're going to talk about energy, finance, and tech, and why those don't matter if people can't eat. Now we enter the heavyweight states. Number 2, California. California is the monster economy. It's tech, it's innovation, it's shipping ports, it's military bases, it's agriculture. It's also a global supply chain node. If California falls, the tech ecosystem takes a massive hit. Silicon Valley isn't just social media, it's infrastructure, it's data systems, it's industrial software, it's defense-adjacent engineering ecosystems. It's a pipeline of specialized talent. California also has critical ports like Los Angeles, Long Beach, that handle a huge portion of U.S. container imports. If those ports get disrupted in a major war, goods flow slows dramatically, and that affects everything from electronics to machine parts to medical supplies. California also produces a major share of fruits, vegetables, and specialty crops. So yes, losing California is catastrophic. But California still isn't number one. Number one-ish. Texas, but hear me out, Texas is energy. Texas is oil. Texas is natural gas. Texas is refining capacity. Texas is petrochemical and industrial production. If Texas goes down, America loses a huge portion of domestic energy output and refining throughput. That's not a mild inconvenience. That can be national immobilization. And Texas also has major ports and massive economic weight. So yes, Texas is top tier. But in the strict cannot afford to lose list, Texas competes with another category because energy is critical. But America can buy energy at insane prices if it absolutely has to. Food is different. You can't import enough food fast enough to replace the core food system if it breaks. Which leads us to the true number one. The real number one. The Midwest food and logistics core, and yes, this includes Michigan and Wisconsin. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The most important part of America isn't the coast. It's the middle. It's the unglamorous states people fly over and joke about because those states keep 330 million people alive. The core war-critical states are the Midwest Farm Belt and the surrounding logistics support states. This includes states like Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas, Indiana, and yes, the supporting network that keeps it stable like Wisconsin and Michigan. People think corn is just corn. Corn is the base code of the American food system. Corn feeds livestock. Livestock becomes meat, dairy, and eggs. Corn becomes ethanol. Corn becomes an ingredient in thousands of products. Soybeans are used as protein feed and industrial inputs. If that collapses, you don't just lose some groceries, you lose the food system. And once the food system breaks, nothing else matters. Not Wall Street, not Silicon Valley, not even aircraft carriers. Because hungry people don't build. Hungry people riot, and hungry soldiers don't fight. Now, here's something the original script missed that we have to be honest about. The Midwest isn't just farms. It's also the logistics arteries that move food out of the farms and into the nation. That means rail hubs, processing plants, distribution centers, highway networks. You can produce all the food on Earth, but if you can't move it, you still starve. That's the silent killer. This is why Illinois keeps showing up as a critical state even inside the Midwest conversation. Chicago logistics isn't just economy, it's survival. The Midwest is the battery, the logistics hub is the wiring. Now here's the conspiracy-flavored reality that makes people uncomfortable. Some people believe modern warfare wouldn't begin with bombs. It would begin with disruption. It would begin with cyber attacks, supply chain hits, sabotage of processing infrastructure, targeted destabilization of key production systems, and financial chaos to prevent recovery. And if the core food system is disrupted, America experiences a rapid destabilization event that becomes extremely difficult to reverse fast. That is why this region is the real crown jewel. In the next bundle, I'm going to give the final truth speech of the video. I'm going to include one more state most people don't expect to be important, and then I'm going to end with a controversial question that will start a comment war. Before we end, I want to mention one state that people always underestimate. Honorable mention, New York. New York is finance. And finance is war fuel. Because war costs money. War requires credit systems. War requires markets that can fund production. War requires the ability to coordinate capital. So yes, if New York collapses, global markets panic. But the key truth is this. You can survive without the stock market for a short period. You cannot survive without food for even a short period. This is why the Midwest beats everything else. California has tech. Texas has energy, Virginia has command. Washington has nuclear deterrence and Pacific influence. Florida has roots and operations. Michigan and Wisconsin help anchor industry and food stability. Alaska protects the North and Arctic security, but the Midwest and logistics core is the heart. The final truth is brutal. If America loses the wrong state, America doesn't just lose a war. America loses coherence, because war isn't just violence. War is systems. War is logistics. War is energy. War is food. War is stability. And the most dangerous thing about modern America is that most people have no idea what keeps them alive. They think it's celebrities and politics and trending topics. No, it's trucks, it's rail, it's farms, it's ports, it's refineries, it's electricity, it's water. That's the real nation. Pause and comment moment number 3. If you had to choose only one thing to protect to keep America alive in wartime, food, energy, finance, or military command, which one do you pick? Comment food, energy, finance, or command, because your answer says what you think the real power source of a country is. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe, because this channel is about the hidden structures behind power, money, and control. And here's the controversial question I want you to answer. Do you think America's biggest vulnerability in a future war is military weakness? Or is it the fact that our survival depends on a handful of states and supply chains that could be disrupted? Without firing a single shot, drop your answer in the comments, because this one is going to get heated.